Hello everyone. Thanks for joining us for today's webinar. Our agenda for discussion today is Innovate Your Business or Die. I am Ajay Dubedi, the CEO founder of Propel Guru, the leader in modern sales and digital transition. And I'll be the host for today. Be sure to listen to the end of each conversation to take a summary as well as the closing message. Before we get started with this amazing webinar, it would be an honor to introduce Propel Guru before you all. And we are about to get started with Propel Guru's amazing knowledge package discussion. On the speaker panel, we have René Deceuninck, the CEO and founder of IPB Ltd, who possesses master's degree in psychology, body language. He's a dynamic and vibrant personality and an inspiring motivational speaker, a coach, and a trainer who has been running an exclusive international company for years. In this webinar, we'll request his guidance to help us know what innovation is, why it's important for business success than ever, and how you can keep innovating even when the odds are stacked against you. Now, without further ado, let's get started with this webinar, and I am sure our audience would be having an amazing time watching and listening to your invaluable insights. Hey René, welcome to Propel Guru webinar series.
Hi AJ, thank you so much for having me in the first place. It's a real honor and privilege to share my knowledge around the world, but especially in India. It will be my very first time coming to India next year, so I'm really looking forward to that. And I love Indian food, so that's it's all positive. But today is not about food or India. It's about innovate your business or die. So if you allow me, I'll share you my presentation that I have for today. It's about the business. Welcome everybody. We're going to start a presentation about innovate your business or die, and that is reality. Welcome. It's an honor and privilege for me to work with a company called Propel Guru. They're an amazing company. They have that platform. You should get in contact with them because I'm really excited about working with them. And my company is IPB Ltd, stands for Institute for Personal Development and Body Language Limited in London in the UK. Now, what we're going to do today, or what I'm going to show you today, is that where are you today and where do you want to go? That's a question you should think about it on a regular basis. Discover the recipe for product and service innovation. How to create marketing and sales strategies. Number 4, what's the power of financial literacy? And number 5, last but not least, discover the innovative people processes. Because in the end, we work with people. Even if you say we work online, you still work with people. So it's very important to discover the innovative people processes. Now, where are you today is the first question, and where do you want to go? If I would ask you, where do you want to be tomorrow? Could you come up with an answer that makes sense? Where do you want to be in 5 years, in 10 years, in 15 years, in where? Tell me, could you answer that question that makes sense? Or give me an answer that makes sense? Now, the first thing I'm going to do is explain to you that this is a lifeline of you, and we all get born. Become a toddler, from there we become a kid, we a teenager, young adult, and all of a sudden we find ourselves in that specific area, the most productive time of our life with maximum results. From there we go to the midlife, aging, elderly home, and last but not least, we all die. The two certainties in life is paying taxes and die. These are the two only certainties we have in life, right? If you could agree with that. Now, this is our lifeline, and Apple understood that very well. This is an example, this is an exercise. Apple understood that very well in the sense that they started in 1976. They got born, became a toddler, and then became a kid in 83. From there, they went to teenager in 84, 85, young adult. And in 1990, Apple was at its maximum result, in the zone of maximum result, the most productive time of their life. And all of a sudden, they went through their midlife in 1997 and aging at the same year. And they found out that if they wanted to have something to happen that would make them still be on the market, they had to change certain things. And Steve Jobs understood that very well. And he came up with a team as well. And they created the iMac in 1998. That was a hit on the market. And then they went from the iMac to the iPod, the iPhone, the iMac, and the list goes on and on and on. We all have a smartphone today. We all have somewhere along the line an iPad, an iPhone, an iMac, or something that looks like it, right? So people all all these industries, they do know they have to innovate. And that's why the title is Innovate Your Business or Die, right? You have to innovate. And if you would draw your lifeline, this is an exercise, right? So draw your lifeline and put your business also on that lifeline and look where you are. Are you in your midlife? Are you aging? Or are you just a young adult? And you have to figure that out for yourself as well if you want to innovate your business. Now, this is a lifeline as well. This lifeline is showing you that you get born and you grow. And the green line are the normal people. And I always ask people to define normal, right? But I call them the people outside of our circle who are out there, 80% of society, you know, the sheep that follow sheep. Now, if you're a business owner and you want to innovate your business or die, you should follow the blue and yellow line. To be frankly honest with you, the blue and yellow line is my line. My emotional line, my yellow line, went down in between my 20s and my 30s. It went pretty deep down. However, I discovered certain studies, certain systems, how to get that back up. And the blue line is my business. So my business went down, up a little bit. But the moment I found these techniques, how to control or to enhance my emotional situation, my business went up as well. And it's a never-ending story. It's like going to the gym and grow muscle by going once a year. It's not working. You have to do it on a daily basis. And that is about listening to seminars, reading books, looking at systems, and also following Propel Guru with the seminars and webinars they're going to show you, right? Is that correct, AJ? So, because this is information that will enhance your life, your business, everything. So this is it. This is a lifeline. Draw your lifeline from 0 to 100. Suppose you'll be there for 100 years. What will happen in between? Where are you today? Are you 40s? Are you in your 50s? And be honest with it, right? Don't fool yourself. Draw that lifeline. This is not an exercise. Now, the 5 questions you should ask yourself, and the first one is, what kind of business are you actually in? What kind of business are you in? Are you in hospitality? Are you in the online business? Are you in the automotive business? What kind of business are you in? Right? That's the first thing to discover. Why did you originally start? Why is it that you start? I know so many people, they go on a daily basis to their job and they hate their job. Even some business owners hate their business. Can you imagine? That is prison. If you go to your business and you hate it, but you have to be there, otherwise you die and you get out like a lot of problems, you're in prison. So why did you originally start? A lot of marriages would not go through divorce if they would go back to basis. Why did you fall in love? Why did you fall in love with your business? Why? The why is the juice of everything. If you know what you want, that's 20%. 80% is your why. If you know what you want and why you want it, the rest is automatic. The how will come immediately. So why did you originally start? Who are you? And where are you? If I would ask you, who are you? Could you come up with an answer that makes sense? Who are you? Are you a very emotional person or a rational person? Are you a team leader? Are you a solo player? Are you emotional, rational, team player, solo player? Are you an introvert or an extrovert? Who are you? Who are you on this market? And where are you on that lifeline, right? Draw the line, make the exercise. What's next and what do you want to achieve in the next 12 months? If I would ask you again, I'm going to ask you a lot of questions. And in my industry, they call me the why guy. So, I mean, what's next and what do you want to achieve in the next 12 months? From now, 12 months. If you say, I'm right now here, I want to make an extra of 1 million or 100 million in 12 months. Wow, amazing. Create a system. And even if you land at 80 million, planning it will get you to the 80. If you don't plan it, you'll not get anywhere. Does that make sense? So, what's next and what do you want to achieve in the next 12 months? And what is your growth plan to go from 30 to 300%? 30 to 300%. I'll talk about that later. All right. Discover the recipe for product service innovation. If you have a product that goes along many years and you go new products on the market through another company, you might lose a lot of customers and a lot of return on investment and revenues. And so you have to really look at your own products and your own services and innovate them. Now, the first thing is make a list. And if you make a list, geographic positions and areas, where are you? Where are you delivering? I mean, I came to the UK, I was in Belgium a week ago, and I came to the UK and I saw all these trucks going towards the tunnel and the ferry to go to Europe to deliver the last deliveries, because there's the Brexit, right? So people are ordering as much as they can, because once Brexit is a fact, there will be taxes, right? So geographic positions and areas, where do you deliver? Are you delivering from the UK to Europe or the other way around? How does it work? Now, types of businesses, customers, ages. Make a list of that. The types of businesses you're going to work with, the types of customer you want to work with, their age. If you do a business with somebody who's 20 years old or somebody who's 70 years old, different story. And then your competitors and their X factor. I'll explain the X factor as well. Your competitors and your X factor and their X factor. Now, you can't do business with everybody. If you think that this presentation will allow you to do business with everybody all around the planet, it's not going to work. You can't do business with everybody. So be specific who you want to do business with and create your niche. Now, I remember myself when I started my business, somebody said, René, you got so many products, you have to have a niche. Because I had a lot of products, that was true. I didn't have any customers though. And they said, you have to have a niche. And I went home and I was asking myself, what's a niche? I learned it the hard way. I mean, and don't worry about it. The more mistakes you make in life, the better you become very fast. The people who never make mistakes, make mistakes as much as you can. You'll learn very fast then. Now create a niche. Less is more. If you have too many products, people will say, nah, he's not specialized in anything. Don't go there. Make sure you got the niche. Make sure that less is more becomes a mindset. Specific niche. A niche is not a field. A specific niche, something specific. My specific niche is body language. 80% of my time I spent teaching body language. 20% though, I collaborate with success resources in Singapore. I collaborate with Tony Robbins. I collaborate with all kinds of speakers. But 80% is my niche, is body language. They know me for my body language, not for the rest, right? Now, define where you are in the cycle of business and life. Again, referring back to that Lifeline circle, please do that exercise. Now, the X factor, I mentioned you something about the X factor, and what is your X factor and what's the X factor of your competitor. Because if you know the X factor of your competitor, you might adapt to that and create new systems, right? Because in the end, we all have competitors, and competition is super good because that keeps you sharp. That makes sense. Now, the X factor is your personal X factor and the one of your competitor. Now, what is your X factor for you in leadership? What is your X factor in innovation and creativity? And with the X factor, I mean that specific thing that you are super good in it, where you make the difference in business. Innovate your business or die. What is your X factor that puts you in such a position that you are unique? Is it leadership, innovation, creativity? Is it marketing? Is it sales? Is it financial intelligence? Is it optimization? Is it time management? Is it making decisions and implement these decisions? And then right from these words, you'll find these numbers. Give yourself a number from 1 to 10. How good are you? What is your X factor? If you say leadership, well, yeah, 8. Marketing, 7. Innovation, 3. I could do better there. But what is your X factor? And then work on that. And have a clear picture. Now, why would you do these exercises? First of all, let me explain this. We have a brain. We have a left brain and a right brain. And then we have that specific thing in the brain that called the RAS. We call that the RAS. It's a reticular activating system. And that's a search engine machine in your brain that will search for these things that you are thinking about. The reason you have to put things on a piece of paper is that where focus goes, energy flows. The reason that people don't succeed in life, and they say, yeah, but I have it in my head. That's good for a while, for short term, but not for the long term. If you have certain things on paper and you look at it on a daily basis, your reticular activating system will look for these signs, will look for the information that you put on there. It's like, how shall I say, the reticular activating system is like in synchronization as well. You think about a certain person during the day, you didn't see them for 5 years, they live on the other side of the country, and you can't stop thinking about them. And all of a sudden, at nighttime, the phone goes off. And who's on the phone? That person. We all had that experience, didn't we? So make sure to put exercises on paper, Look at it on a very regular basis. You'll see things will change very, very fast. The X factor. So what is your personal X factor? What is the X factor of your competitor, right? Now, what's very important as well is market research. Market research is so important. Now, the first thing to do is know your market and know your competitors, and don't give up. Don't just give a price. Make sure to study them. The second part is, where is my market situated? Right? Where can I deliver my products? Where can I deliver my services? Where can I make sure, where is your market situated? Number 3, who is my prospect customer? Do you know them? People say, I know my customers. No, you don't. Do you have it in your computer on a piece of paper? Know your customers, know your prospects. What sales format and or system should you use? Because we can all say, yeah, you know, grab your car, go to the customer, have a conversation, make sure you sell something. It might work, but it's not going to work 100% for everybody. You have to have a sales format. You have to have a system that is in place. If you own a business and you got 4 salespeople and one of them says, "Ma, I quit," where is the information? Is it in a system? Is it in a format? And that happens a lot. A lot of companies have people working for them and then they leave, and where's the information? It's gone. So make sure you have a sales format that they use and that you can pass on to somebody else. Make sure you have a system the people use, but you can pass it on to somebody else. If I would give you an example, for example, if I want to sell you a kilo of apples, it's a completely different story of selling you an apartment. I'm exaggerating, right? But it's a different sales process, right? Certain sales processes takes 1 minute, others takes years. I've been dealing in different countries all over the planet, in the Middle East, talking about oil deals, and I had to coach people in doing these deals with oil, right? And not discussing the price. I was guiding them through the process. What to watch out for, which words should you use, what is the process of getting the deal done. Different process than selling a kilo of apples, if you would agree. So what are the different sales processes in your market and your niche? How to create marketing and sales strategies. What sales format and or system should I use? Super important. Is this a traditional based system? An offer, order, invoice? We all know that system. However, is it a long-term or short-term sales? The kilo of apples is a short-term sales, that's for sure. However, if you are working for a brand in the automotive sector and you have a certain brand that you want to sell to somebody, you want to keep them buying with you and not go anywhere else, right? And that's a long-term sales. That's a long-term relationship. Once you sold something to somebody, from a car to a house, you have to keep these people with you in your company, right? Now, can you rely on referrals? Next question. What tactics will I use? Which ones? What? Is there a tactic? Is there something like, what sales format or system should I use? What tactic is it? I'm going to do, if I'm going to a network event, for example, said, hey, Mr. John, how are you doing? It's an honor to be here with you. Thank you so much. And I heard so much about you. Can I ask you a question? The thing is, what tactics will I use is ask questions. Don't do the talking. Millionaires and billionaires didn't become millionaires and billionaires by doing the talking. They always ask questions to people. Which questions? Good question. Which question? The what, where, when, who, which, the open questions. The answer can't be yes or no. People have to come up with a story. If I ask you, how was your trip to Egypt last year? You can't say yes or no. You have to come up with a story. And it's that story that gives you so much information. Secondly, the person is sharing his story gets significant. The third thing is that it gives you time, if you know about body language, to read the body signs, if they're lying or not, for example. There's so much information that will be given to you if you ask an open question, if people come with a story. So which tactic are you going to use? What tactics will you use is this question. Now, is there a spin selling, situation, problem, implication? Is it a concept selling? Is it a qualification selling? Is it hard selling? That exists as well. Hard selling, I wouldn't recommend it. Depends on what you're selling, of course. What are the different sales processes within my market. Now, there's prospecting, calling, cold or hot, offensive, defensive. If I would call somebody in India from a certain company that I don't know, I would be cold calling and I would be asking questions. It can be offensive or defensive, depending on the product, depending on the country, depending on the culture, depending on all kinds of things. Prospecting. Now, are you going to visit? Are you going to send them an email? Are you going to send mail? In Europe, what happens a lot now is the changing from email to mail, because people get so sick and tired of getting so many emails. What they do, they write a letter and they put it in the post, and people get a letter from a company. That's a weird thing today. And especially when you have a different color, because all envelopes are white. Why don't you choose a green or a blue envelope? What will happen is people will gather the post and they will see the different color and they will put it out and say, oh, that's something special. They will read your mail immediately. Whereas in an email, it goes fast for sure, but people are sick and tired of getting emails about, hey, we are the best company, we have the best product. People don't read these emails anymore. So there's a shift today more than ever from emailing to mail, right? Depending again on the process that you want to use. Now, the preparation of it is important as well. Is there an approach? Is there a first approach? Is there a product approach? Is there a question approach? If you say, I have a first approach, so you go to a company, introduce yourself, but it can be a product approach. People call you. We heard about you. You have an amazing product. How do you approach these people with your product? And then there's a question approach. Asking questions, as I explained earlier, the open questions, which, why, where, when, who. And then your presentation. In the preparation, to go to a customer, make sure you have a presentation. If it's on paper, if it's on a computer, is it your presentation without computer, without paper? And the best speakers, by the way, don't have a presentation. I have one now, but this is a webinar, right? Let me be very clear. If I'm on stage, normally I don't use any presentations at all, but this is a webinar. I want to be clear with what I share with people. And we're going to use this presentation as well to make the movie and the video. So anyway, so handling objections, so important. And the best way to handle objections is sharing the objection up front. I do know this is very expensive. However, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the customer might say, oh wow, that's interesting. They don't have the opportunity anymore to say, oh, that's expensive, because you said it up front. How do you handle objections? I do remember a conversation with somebody and they said, yeah, well, we don't know, and it's expensive. And I said, shush, can I ask you 3 questions? You are a huge company. You have salespeople. If we sell to you our educational program, you think they're not going to use it, isn't it? And they go like, oh yeah, they will use it. Okay. If your people are studying this program, they're not gonna use it, they're not gonna study it, it's gonna be a loss of money, isn't it? And they go say, no, we're sure about that. Okay. Last question. You're not the decision maker, aren't you? Oh yes, I am. So they said 3 times yes. My last question, very last question is, what is holding you back of doing business with me? And they said already 3 times yes, and it'll be, and then you can use NLP. I have a very small section about that at the end of the presentation. You can use NLP, Neuro-Linguistic Program. When is the right time to take a decision? Right now. And they go like, oh, right now, thank you. And then you shake hands and you say, hey, great doing business with you. Handling objections. There's a whole section about handling objections. I'm going to leave it for this for now. All right, and then closing the deal is so important. What are the different sales processes within my market? How do I close a deal? I just mentioned it in the storytelling. How do I close a deal? So important to close the deal. And if you have a customer that can't take a decision, take the decision. A no, you have it for sure, and a yes, you can get. So the closing is very important. However, the follow-up is super important as well. If you say something to somebody and they say, oh, thank you so much for your services, blah, 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 make sure to call them within 24 hours. Hey, sir, how are you doing? Or hey, ma'am, how are you doing? How is your experience with our product or our service? Is there anything I can add? Is there anything I can help you with? They will say, wow, what a service. Even though there's no questions, they will appreciate you doing this. Do this after 24 hours, do that after a week, a month, but follow up on your customer. They will appreciate that so much. Now, know your client via social media, online resources, search engines, and credit checks. I don't know if it's allowed in certain countries to do credit checks. However, in a lot of countries, they do credit checks to make sure if you sell something to your customer, that they pay the invoice. Because a lot of people, they order, but they don't pay anything. That's the disease of the century, by the way, right? So make sure to do credit checks, make sure to have search engines that are looking for the information that you type in, etc., etc. Now there's Facebook, there's LinkedIn, there's Twitter, there's Instagram. Check your customer on social media. This is my social media platform. This is not everything because I'm on 24 different platforms on social media. But the thing is, make sure to be present on social media. Be there. It's for free. Why won't you use it? I mean, I was with Gary Vee 2 years ago in London. Gary Vaynerchuk, he's a social media guru. And he said, if you're not on 10 different platforms today, you'll have no reason of existence in this industry. And I was like, wow. He says, how many are you? I said, I'm 24. He says, yeah, you're doing good. Okay, no worries. But the thing is, why is Coca-Cola in the desert of Ethiopia? Very simple, because they're there. You don't have to study for that. So that is the whole thing. So Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, start with the basic ones. Make sure you spend your time wisely when you go on social media. End of the story. So the next thing is marketing and sales and your time management. Because I know a lot of people, they are on social media, they're on Facebook, they're on LinkedIn, and I say, René, how do you manage all of that? You're on 24 different platforms in church. How do you do it? I said, it's very simple, it's time management, right? And the time management, my time management looks like this. Not completely, but this is the basis. It changes consistently. So in the morning, there's meditation, then a workout, then hygiene, take a shower, whatever, breakfast, and then social media for half an hour, not more than half an hour. However, I have a mind map of my social media right in front of me. Remember, reticular activating system, where focus goes, energy flows, that mind map is there. And then I check. Within half an hour, everything done. And then back in the evening, same system. From 6:30 till 7, I go on my social media. Is this true? Yes, to a certain percentage. Because there's always something happening that will ruin your agenda. And we all have that experience. If you're in business and your agenda is always working out, you're not in business. If that makes sense. So make sure to also have that time management right in front of you and make sure to work with it. What is the power of financial literacy? The financial literacy is very important. My question would be, what's next and what do you want to achieve in the next 12 months? If you ask that question to a lot of people, to a lot of business owners, to a lot of entrepreneurs, what is it that you want to achieve in the next 12 months? A lot of them can't answer. On the contrary, there's COVID-19 and there's this and there's that. And this is thinking in problems. Why don't you think in solutions? Different mindset. And those who think in solutions will have the challenges of all the negative, but they will come up with a solution. That's so important. So what is going to happen for you, for your business in the next 12 months? Now, where are you today? Where are you? What is your financial situation? If I would ask you, how much money do you have on your bank account right now? Can you answer immediately? 90% can't answer this. If I would ask you, what is on your business bank account, on your personal bank account, on your whatever account, could you come up with an answer that makes sense? No, nobody can answer that question because they don't. What kind of business are you running? I speak from a lot of stages. And in last year, so 2019, I was in Birmingham, and there was Ty Lopez as an investor as well. There was Grant Cardone, there was Gary Vee. I was there backstage, and there was Michael Lane from Australia. And we had a conversation about this. And what I remember from all of these conversations is to know, where are you in your bank account? Where are you with your people that you work with? Do you have a lifeline of your business on a daily basis? And that's so important. And today more than ever, because it's getting complicated and complicated. So where are you in the economy? Where are you? in the economy, in the industry that you're in. Where are you in that industry? Do you have an old product, a new product? Are you innovating or are you dying? Where are you in the economy, the industry? Where are you in your company? Because a lot of entrepreneurs work in their company instead of working outside their company, on the company. No, they're part of the, because, oh, that person can't do this, that, well, I'll do it. No, that's not the way to work. I mean, where are you in your company? In yourself and in the core team, where are you? And in the seasons of change. There's always seasons of change. You have winter, you have spring, you have summer, and then you have autumn. So what I mean about that is that what does a farmer do during the spring? He's putting seeds in the ground. He's nurturing it. During the summertime, he has a bit of time off. However, he's going to nurture that field so well, because in autumn, he wants to reap the crop. And then in the wintertime, it gives him time to rest. Now, my question is, where are you with your business? Are you putting seeds in the ground? Are you nurturing them? Or are you lazy on your bed and say, yeah, things will happen like automatically, I don't care. It doesn't work like that. You have to really make sure you have a balance of all four of them. The balance of putting seeds while you are reaping the crop, while you're nurturing, you have to have all four of them. Where are you in the seasons of change? Where are you? So important to discover that. How do you prepare for the next season? Always be prepared. I've got people, they putting money on the side to buy something, and then they have it and they go into depression and they don't know why. Because there's no new deal, there's no new challenge, there's nothing behind this. Make sure you achieve your goal, but before you achieve it, you have a new challenge ready. Otherwise, you'll fall into depression or burnout. Lately, I heard something about a bored out. I never heard about the word, but anyway, people invent all these words to have a reason why things are happening, but that's not the way to do it as an entrepreneur, isn't it? So, what is your growth plan of 3,300? Create an exciting future. Make sure, if you think about it, you get butterflies in your belly and a smile on your face from here to China. Create an exciting future. You can't wait to get up in the morning and you're out of your bed, you put the music on, you go like, yes, let's do it. An exciting future when you think about your business. And also create the balance. What is your growth plan? What is your reward system? Make sure you reward yourself. What if I achieve this? What will I reward myself? However, when I don't achieve this, what will I punish myself with? And that might be a motivator too. This is a whole different chapter. Again, I have a whole presentation on that. But what are you going to reward yourself when you do it? What are you going to punish with when you don't? I mean, you never know. What will you achieve in the next 12 months? Now, let me show you this. Increase the numbers of your customers. Increase the average transaction value. And increase the frequency of repurchase. Get more residual value from each customer. How do you do that? You got the customer, you got the sales, and repurchase. So what we're going to do, we have 1,000 customers times 100 sales times 2 repurchases. That will give you 200,000 US dollars or Indian rupees. It doesn't matter what you put behind it. It's just the thought. It's the system. Now, let's say you increase your customers with 10%. You increase your sales with 10%. And you increase the repurchase with 10%. What will happen? You will have an increase on top of the 200,000 of 33%. By only increasing 10% on each one of them, which is not that much. 1,000 plus 10% is 100, right? If you would do that with 20%, you increase your customer, your sales, your repurchase with 20%, you'll have an increase of 73%. I'm going to go one more step further. If you increase your customer with 30%, your sales plus your repurchase, you'll increase your 200,000 with 150%. I mean, who wouldn't dream about that? Well, if you can dream it, do it, right? Just do it. So increase the numbers of your customers, sales, and repurchase, and you'll see amazing things will happen. And that is the secret of using the numbers, right? Multiply the numbers. You just have to do it with small numbers. You don't have to exaggerate. Small numbers, bit by bit, bit by bit. And when you find your system, because it's just an example, if you find your system how to do it, just 10x it, times 10 or times 100. Because the system has to be there. And once you know how your system is working, you just go with it.
So René, it's amazing so far. I'm going to take a quick pause, and I'm going to couple of questions I'm going to just read out, and just so that you know, like I've made so many notes and the important things which you have shared, especially some of the sentences. It's like amazing, and I'm going to make those sentences, or to say like quick proverbs. Never stop learning. That is amazing. Yes. And that lifeline circle which you explained, amazing, and I'll get back to those, but there is a quick question someone asked related to about failures. So innovation and failures, and how to deal with failures. So I think you touched on that point a bit, but I would like to answer that question, explain a bit more on that, please.
If you know what you want, that will create clarity.
Absolutely.
If you know, I'm going to buy a new car, and that new car's name is, let's say, Mercedes, and that Mercedes is going to be an S-type, and it's going to be a 3.2 cc. It's going to have aluminium wheels. It's going to have the color white. The seats has to be like this, and you have clarity because you know what you want. You will go to that shop and say, is there a salesman available? Okay, I want this and this and this, this and this and this and this and this. What would your advice be to add or to leave? And then clarity is power. What is it that you want? I'm going to share you something of my personal things, is that my dream is to spread body language all over the planet. I would do anything to get there. I mean, anything. I slept in garages. I slept in a car. I went broke, right? All of these things. People said, oh, we'll invite you to that country. And it was in Asia. And I didn't know how to get there. And I found a way to get the money to get there. It's been years ago, but I remember it like yesterday. And it's not about what happens in the moment. It's what is your album? What do you want? And failure will be a part of it. But the more you fail, the smarter you get. For people who know Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad Poor Dad, he failed 3-4 times before he got on it. He says, we failed the first time, we made an analysis, this, delete this, add this to the hub, let's start again. Failed again. Let's look at it, analyze, change this, delete that. Let's get started. Failed again. And by the 4th time, he was up and running. So failure is a part of the process. Don't be demotivated by failure. Just use it for your own benefit.
So what happens is, like, when we are in a team and we are planning and strategizing, like what will be our next quarter, what should be our marketing strategy, sales strategies, and all those things. And while going through that entire process, I see many times, like around 50% of the team, or to say like the 50% of even the big players, they forget to write down the actual action items. Like, okay, planning is something, strategy, planning out, but the action items, what exactly you need to act, and actually going ahead and acting on it, like working on those tasks. Mm-hmm. That's also like the part to success, right? Otherwise, you will end up only planning, and that's probably happens probably that shows a sign of like initial beginners, probably those who wonder, daydreamers kind of. So yeah. I would like you to tell us, if I would like to ask that question in one line, like how important is action when compared to strategy and planning?
So a lot of these soldiers, they have that gun and they're like aiming and aiming and aiming and aiming and aiming, but they never pull the trigger because they're so scared of what's going to happen, right? And that happens in sales, that happens in management, that happens in all kinds of situations, that people are planning a lot, but they don't put anything into action, and it's because they're scared about certain things. And it's overcoming that fear is so important to say, hey, what is, again, it's related to your first question, what is my outcome? What is my outcome? Now, it all depends on if you have analysis about what is happening. You can have a salesperson that sells like more than he should sell on a yearly basis, right? And has no plan. But it's in that person. And your analysis is, hey, he's making like, he should make 1 million a year, he's making 2 million a year. That's amazing. How do you do this? And that person might say, yeah, I do it like this and that, because they're used to it, right? And maybe they really don't have that system on paper, they have it in here. Now, as a business owner, you have to insist to put this on paper through these people, because these are very valuable systems. And if you want to, if that person says, you know what, I'm done with this company, I'm going to another company, at least you have their system in your computer or whatever, right? And then there's other people, like you said, people who are not planning, they don't do this, but they don't have the results. So if you have that information by somebody who's really very good at what he does, but they don't have the information, make sure to ask the information and put it in your system. When somebody else comes along, you can share it with them. Now, when people don't really make that kind of results, if the return on investment that you put in some people in your sales team, for example, you don't get it back, they have to have that system in place. They have to have some system on a piece of paper that they have to follow in the beginning for sure, until they make the numbers that they have to make. And it's so important to follow up on it as well. I mean, the outcome is there. You got a system, you have a person, they have to do the job. And if they don't do the job, don't be scared to fire them. I mean, it is your business. It's innovate your business or die. And with innovating is also innovating in terms of people. You have to innovate with people. If people don't no longer do what they have to do, I am sorry, I'll give you 1 month. If you don't change, we'll have to let you go. Don't tell me we didn't notify you or whatever. That is running a business. It's not always pleasure. Sometimes you have to go through the rough stuff. But planning, system, results, so important. And to put it into your system, into your computer. So the fifth part is the last part about innovate your business or die. Number 5, discover the innovative people processes. And I'm talking about your personnel, the people working for you, but also about your customers and also about your competitors, the 3 people you have to think about. So number 1, make sure in people processes to know how to communicate with your client, the behaviors, the attitudes, the listening. You have to know, you have to be aware of all of that. So the next one is know your arguments on various topics and know how to say no. If a customer says, oh yeah, you'll do it for that price, don't you? No, sir, we're not going to do it for that price. Let me explain you why. Be able to say no. Not always say, oh yeah, and then go home and, oh my God, what a bad deal. No. When it's no, period, right? Nobody works for free. Importance of the first 30 seconds. I remember I went to sell a truck many years before I was in the personal development industry. I used to sell trucks, and and I was in an office of a person and of a customer. He says, go to my office, you know where it is. We changed certain things, but you'll find it. And there was a little tag on his office desk, and it says, there's never a second moment for a first impression. And I said, wow. So the first 30 seconds are so important, so important. Watch out your clothing, your shoes, how do you look? I mean, you don't have to come out of a box, but you make sure you're dressed for the occasion, so to say. Thank the customer after the visit, or thank your competitor after the visit. If you go to a network event and your competitor is there, hey John, how you doing? Shake hands. I said, how's the business going? And they say, hey, thank you so much for your time. And they will say, huh? Yeah, of course. Thank the customer or your competitor or your personnel, the people working with you. Certain companies have incentives. They say, guys, you know what? If we reach that, that's the incentive. And I remember it was at Yahoo or Google. They had like a round tube in glass, and each time a goal was achieved, they had a tennis ball, and they could put it in the tube. It was a huge long one. I think it was 3 meters high. And once it was full, there was an incentive for everybody. And they were so excited about it. Thank your customer. Thank your personnel, the people working with you. Follow up on action points. Follow up, follow up, follow up. I can't emphasize it enough. Follow up on everything you do with your customer, with your personnel, with your competitor. Examples of situations, and be interactive. If you have somebody working with you and they said, yeah, it's not working for me, how come? And then, they have a list of things why things are not working. Give them examples of situations and be interactive with that person. And make sure when they go out of that door that they say, yes, I found it. That's how you work with people. And the last but not least is a study from the University of Harvard process. Separate the people from the problem. It's not because there's a problem that that person should be connected to it. A problem is a problem. The person is a person. People are people. And disconnect them, separate them. So important. Focus on interest, not positions. Does that make sense? Invent options for mutual gain. If my customer wins and I win, we've got a good deal. Insist on using objective criteria. Insist on using objective criteria. And know your partner, the best alternative to negotiated agreement. This is a principle from Harvard. You have to know it up front. When do I leave the table? This is my best alternative negotiated agreement. If it goes below that, I leave the table. I'm sorry, we're not going to do business today. Right? And to come back to invent options for mutual gain, I was 5 months in Australia. I got stuck there. I was not allowed to work. And I talked to a lot of my fellow speakers, and they said, René, put your course online. And I said, that's a good idea. So we started recording. Once I was in London, we started recording everything, and we did put it online. And the course is now online. And for everybody who's watching this or listening to this, go to Propel Guru. And Ajay, I know you guys are amazing. So, and what I did to come back to insist on invent options for mutual gain is that there's a program for affiliates. And I give them a really good percentage. And they are so excited. So there's a mutual gain. My dream of spreading body language all over the planet is happening as I speak. And the people helping me getting well paid. It's a mutual gain. So that's so important to do that as well. So, to finish it up, it's not what you say, it's how you say it that matters in business. So this might be cut out or not, Q&A questions.
So you know what, so much about how to innovate and how to think about the best practices related to the body language, like your mental process and all. I would like to share a quick thing about how I thought of this entire last 8, 9, 10 months, this situation. Okay. So while I was going through all these things in the business, before this, I always had, back in last year, I was always pushing my team towards okay, go ahead with video selling. So video is the future, right? There are more number of people right now watching. That's why we are doing this webinar, right? Rather than okay. So and I was like, okay, let me do more, and that term is innovation, right? I was trying to innovate, and I am trying to innovate even right now. And we came up with this amazing video package. Okay. So whatever business you have, whatever sort of idea you have, whatever services you are selling, product you are selling, anything you are selling, if you are not having a video version, a video marketing content for it, I'm really, really doubtful that it's almost 50 or more than 50% of the entire world or your audience level is not able to watch it. Okay. So whatever services, whatever packages, whatever products you are selling, you must have to innovate within your business, within your sales plan or marketing plan, and try to come up with some sort of video strategy. And the best step I thought how we can do, or how any of my prospect or client should be doing, is trying to think of a simple script. Again, the same questions which you mentioned. Why is it important? Okay, who is going to watch it, or the audience, or who is going to use your product? What are your services? So if you are able to answer that question, you have that video script available, like that's inside you. You just, all you need to is like talk to a marketing guy like us and anyone in our team, and we can get that to you. So definitely innovating and coming to that video content has helped us. Right now we are selling that video packages like hotcakes. It's going really good. So that was something I wanted to add in. And on the time management, especially René, to our audience, who are at times like 50% also like young innovator or young corporate people. Okay, so for them time management is very, very, very difficult. I can't give them example of Elon Musk. Okay, so he's managing 10 different companies, like, and his time management, I was like, phew, even I like no way I can do that kind of time management. Like he barely sleeps and he works and he works and he works. Like he gives a well-defined time to their. So I would like to give your last few sentences on time management. Like how do you do it? You did mention you get up, you have a sort of a, and probably you are from an army background. That's why hats off, like you must be having that in your blood, right? So, but still, how would you try to suggest that for that corporate audience, that young generation, how to do that time management? Please, some advice.
Well, the first question is, are you going to manage your time, or is time going to manage you? It's the first question. The second question is, or it's not a question, it's a statement, is if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. It's a one-liner we all know, but it is so true. If you fail to plan, you're actually planning to fail. So planning is again giving structure, and I have a background in the army, that's for sure, and we had that structure in terms of in the morning you get up at a certain time, in the morning you make your bed, you make sure your cupboard is like in a certain system arranged, you go have your breakfast, you do this, you do that. There's all kinds of, and it's time management. But I do know one thing for sure, the outcome that you have in your head here, if you say my outcome is XYZ, you'll get so fast there. If you have a proper time management, your time management will get messed up from time to time, that's for sure, right? But if you don't have any, that's the most beautiful recipe for failure. And time management is super important. If you plan to fail, if you fail to plan, you are planning to fail. And when you're not planning, somebody else will plan for you. And even if you're a business owner, somebody else will plan for you. Your customers will plan you. Absolutely. And that should not happen. You should plan your customers. And from my perspective, I can be wrong, I don't know, but that's how I work. And I got my results. So time management, make sure you manage your time. When people call you and you're in the middle of a meeting, don't pick up the phone. Put them on flight mode. That's what I do. At nighttime, when I go to bed, my phone is on flight mode. I don't care who calls. I deserve my rest. Because if there's one thing to respect a lot, is your rest. If you don't rest enough, you can do that for 6 months, for a year, for 2 years, but somewhere along the line, you'll go down. So you need to have respect of your rest, your meditation, your praying, whatever you put in that time management, do it. But make sure it's your time management, not somebody else's. And make sure that people follow your time management and not the other way around. I mean, in business, I'm not talking about a family. Family is different chapter. But in your business, make sure you have time management and people follow you. The moment you have to adapt to people's time management, you're not the business owner. Let me say it like this. So in 1995, I started my business. I had a supermarket with products. However, I didn't have no customers. And the products were all personal development products. Until I created my niche, I started having customers. Now everybody said to me, you're not going to make it. This is not for you. And I said, you know what? Watch me and I'll show you. And I did it anyway. And that goes back to far more in the past, and I was going to join the Navy. And they said, René, don't do that. This is not for you. You're not going to make it. You don't have the right studies. And I said, you know what? Watch me. I'll show you. And I joined the Navy. And I was watching these people with stars and stripes, and I said, wow, wouldn't it be great to become one of them? And people say, no, you got lucky. You're in the Navy. Please be content with what you have. You know, we all have people like that around us. And I said, you know what? Watch me. I'll show you. And 10 months later, I was a sergeant. 2 years later, first sergeant, and then I went for sergeant major. And I was watching these people jumping out of airplanes, and I was like, wow, wouldn't that be great? You know, boys and their toys. These people with the six packs, and you know, and I said, wow. And I went home and I told everybody, and I said, yo, don't do that. They're going to drop you in the war zone. You're going to get killed and blah, blah, blah. And I said, you know what? Watch me. I'll show you. And I did it anyway. And I was sitting on my hiney in a C-130 Hercules, these logistic aircrafts. There's no doors in it. And I was sitting on my hiney on the cold metal before jumping. Mm-hmm. And I was watching the pilot, and I said, wow, wouldn't it be great to become a pilot? Mm-hmm. And I went home and I was all excited. I said, you know what? I'm going to become a pilot. I'm going to do this. And people say, oh, whoa, shush, easy. This is not for you. You're not going to make it. This is for other people. And I said, you know what? Watch me and I'll show you. And I became a pilot anyway. And I flew my first own aircraft after 10 months. And then later went on helicopters. And the thing is not about me. It's not about my journey in the army. It's about, if you want something, if you have an outcome, to relate it to what we are talking about, if you have an outcome, chase it. Chase it and do whatever it takes. You will lose friends, but then when you lose them, so it's about the journey. And then I started my business, and then I started working with high-end customers, and all of a sudden started collaborating with Tony Robbins, started collaborating with Success Resources in Singapore, started collaborating with all, and that's a journey. People say to me or ask me the question, how did you do it? I don't know. You just do it. However, what I shared today with you, AJ, I hope people use it for their own benefit, because that is a small amount of content, how you can really grow tremendously, very fast. So if people are interested, I mean, I would suggest that they contact you first, and then we are Priyanka in India, who is representing in India, and then let's take it from there, I would say.
Definitely, we are your affiliates, and we would love to forward your message to all of our audience. Those are the amazing closing statements, and I'm really glad that you joined us in this particular awesome webinar. And you know what? Like I'm so thoughtful right now that I'd love to have you again back with some amazing topics which we shared, and which I'm sure you have a lot of knowledge about experience, which my audience and we all would love to hear about it.